Namaskar. What is freedom? Is it the power that we have to be the lone star in the sky? Is it the gratitude to be able to dream like a wanderlust? Is it the enormity of possibilities like the endless waves? Is it the strength within ourselves to lead a life of awareness? Before we discuss this any further, I request you to just close your eyes for a few seconds and focus on the word freedom. I am a visual thinker and attach a few images to this word. Blue skies, flying doves, white flag, motivated slogans, blooming lilies. This is the default setting of the word freedom. Freedom is nothing but a light. It is the ability that we have to go beyond the mind uninhibited, accepting the shadows and being open to thought-provoking concepts. Freedom without wisdom, responsibility, and compassion is nothing but chaos. So in a world where 8 billion of us live together, there are going to be concepts that are going to collide, some which will find a mutual collaboration, and many more will constantly keep changing. So let's close our eyes genuinely one more time in order to redefine the word freedom. Let freedom be a space devoid of prejudice, bias, judgment, good, bad, right, and wrong. Because freedom is not from someone or something as you and me are acquainted with. Freedom is what we have within us. The courage to be able to break free of the conditioning that adds upon us like layers over the years. It does not remain an opportunity to simply be. Being a practitioner of Indian classical arts, which is steeped in a tradition of 2,500 years, following a very guided path, I always think to myself that when King Siddhartha left his wife, his family, his duties, is it freedom? As I enunciate the love story of Radha and Krishna, knowing fully well that Krishna is going to abandon it all, is it freedom? When I see Ahalya turned to stone or Draupadi with her hair open, is that freedom? Yes, it is all freedom. Because each of these people stand for the very idea we are discussing here today. They had the courage to choose their own flight. Ahalya, as per me, is a woman of great power. She chose to be a stone in order to contemplate about her choices, her desires, her identity. Draupadi, Radha, Sita are people who were able to break away from social norms. Gautam Buddha, Lord Krishna, had a belief in their path, breaking away from societal pressures of what must be done, what must not be, the stereotypes. Each one of them stand as a symbol of having the courage to break away from the conditioning. This is a freedom of awareness. When we are mindful of our restrictions, limitations, and resources, and still we are able to resolve questions like relevance, acceptance, and progress because we have an inner dialogue with this larger fabric of the word freedom, which is so fragile because we understand that you and me are only a small part of this huge canopy. I have been practicing Kathak for over 3 decades, and I still ask myself, how does this movement begin? What is that correct parameter for a rhythmic pattern? What is the right amount of emotion? I'm still searching, but I also know that if you add yourself to the given, to the concept, to the idea, the restrictions will become the first step towards freedom. Today, I take the past, its enormity, its heritage, its vocabulary, its tangibility as a space where I can discover myself without hesitation. It's like looking back in order to move forward. Take, for example, a simple idea associated with freedom, the concept of blooming. Typically, a dancer would show a bud and a slow unfolding of the lotus petal by petal. But blooming can also be the lotus within, the chakras opening into 1,000-petaled lotus. Blooming can also be the resting, coiled Kundalini energy rising to connect with the universal energy and its eternal flow. All we have to do is pause and question the intent. I have often asked myself, why do I want to be a classical dancer in this modern world, in a profession which has physical, mental, emotional, and financial burdens? I have been a banker who's experienced a comfortable, well-paying job, a postgraduate in economics. So what is it that keeps me connected to this parampara? But also please understand that dance has been my one constant since childhood. Through my smiles and tears, I have a very supportive family. But there was a need for a formal education, a backup plan, a society-approved profession. So how do I find myself under the pressure of being someone or something, fully knowing that freedom is nothing but eternal fulfillment? Many of you seated here today would be thinking that Indian classical arts is nothing but a talk on religion, spirituality, Veds, Sanskrit, the weight of tradition. Some of you might also think that I'm restricting my freedom of expression because I'm limiting my language to Kathak. All I can say is dance is my one true love story. And over the years, this relation has intensified in its passion and devotion. Dance your own dance, and the creative energy will take you towards the nascent steps of freedom. Take the restrictions as a challenge, not an impediment. Then the space, ideas, concept, people will give your wings the strength you need in order to take that coveted flight of freedom. This is a freedom of transcendence, where we can be mindful of a growth within, connecting the dots of energy, compassion, creativity, pain, memory, and most importantly, Anand, so that we can have a growth within us. As a dancer, I find this body, the limitedness of my mind, 10 fingers, 2 limbs, very limiting. But I take this as a start point to churn within myself, and what I experience is a fragrance unique only to me. Only if I have created something within myself do I have the capability of letting its vibrations create a collective consciousness. Something which is inherent in the Indian classical arts, and we as its practitioners experience it from time to time. This is a freedom which comes out of strength, responsibility, sensitivity, and a great conviction to let go of all that which holds us back. So let's move towards the musicality of freedom without any weight or meaning or any kind of pressure. I present before you all a tarana which is set to Rag Kalavati in a time cycle of 16 beats, Teen Tal. Let us explore the power of Kathak within the restricted patterns, explore the circularity of energy in its pirouettes, feel the joy in the abstractness of its movement. Let us share the pause, the stillness, that moment of contemplation struck at the point of equilibrium, the sum, which is struck, which is experienced, which is danced with conviction and a totality. So as I dance before you all, just think, what is freedom? It is nothing but creating oneself, going beyond the mind, destroying in order to be born again. It is finding the freedom to be free. Your freedom is a story only you can tell. Your freedom is a dance only you must dance.
ನ ಧ ಕಿಡಧ ತಿಟ್ಟ ಕಿಡಧ ತಿಟ್ಟ ಧ ನ ಧ ನ ಧ ಕಿಡಧ ತಿಟ್ಟ ಕಿಡಧ ತಿಟ್ಟ ಧ ನ ಧ ನ ಧ ಕಿಡಧ ತಿಟ್ಟ ಕಿಡಧ ತಿಟ್ಟ ಧ ಧ ಧ ಧ ಧ ताकिट धा ता ता थै तत थै तत थै आ थै तत थै तत थै थै तत थै तत थै तत ता तत ता तत ता तत थै तत थै तत ता तत ता तत तत थै तत थै तत ता तत ता तत ता ताकिट 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 धा ता ताकदेमी ताक ताकिट ताकदेमी ताक ताकिट धात धा न धात धा न धात धा ताकदेमी ताक ताकिट ताकदेमी ताक ताकिट धात धा न धात धा न धात धा ताकदेमी ताक ताकिट ताकदेमी ताक ताकिट धात धा न धात धा न धात धा धा दिन धा रा दिन दिन धा रा दिन दिन धा ಗೆದ್ದೆನ್ ನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾಗಿತೆರೆ ಗಿಟ್ಟ ತಾಗಿದೆಕಿಟ್ಟ ದಾನ ತಾರಾ ತಾರಾ ಕಿಡದಾಗಿಟ್ಟ ದಾನ ದಾನ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾ ಗೆದ್ದೆನ್ ನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾಗಿತೆರೆ ಗಿಟ್ಟ ತಾಗಿದೆಕಿಟ್ಟ ದಾನ ತಾರಾ ತಾರಾ ಕಿಡದಾಗಿಟ್ಟ ದಾನ ದಾನ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾ ಗೆದ್ದೆನ್ ನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾಗಿತೆರೆ ಗಿಟ್ಟ ತಾಗಿದೆಕಿಟ್ಟ ದಾನ ತಾರಾ ತಾರಾ ಕಿಡದಾಗಿಟ್ಟ ದಾನ ದಾನ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ನಾನಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ತಾರಾಗಿತೆಟ್ ಕೀ ಕಿಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಕ ಧಾ takademi takademi da da 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 takademi takademi da